For this podcast, we're proud to partner with Zurich Life and Investments. As one of the last true independent life insurers, Zurich has always believed in the value of advice and the professionals who provide it. They continue to invest in programs such as this one that are designed to strengthen the health and reputation of the advice profession. They're excited about the chance to partner with us, XY Advisor, to help shape the future direction of advice and help make it more accessible to more Australians. To find out more or to check out some of the latest advisor support tools, visit the website or ask your Zurich BDM.
We all know education is one of the biggest things in the industry at the moment. It's why we've created the XY Advisor platform. It allows advisors to do short 4-week courses. And what we're really keen to do is to get as many awesome content providers in there. So if you're an advisor or a service provider who have put together an awesome solution which can affect change in the way an advisor does their job on a Monday morning, please do put together an application for us at www.xyadvisor.com.
Drew, how on earth did you end up on Jerry Springer?
Jerry Springer. How could you not want to be on Jerry Springer? Like, seriously, it's got to...
This is I actually can't wait to hear about this story.
Well, I was travelling around with a mate of mine and we were road tripping around the States. And before I went on this trip overseas, I went and saw my grandfather. And he was about 84 at the time. And I said, look, I'm going overseas for a couple of years and when I'll be back. And he said, all right, 2 bits of advice. 1, wear a condom. 84. I said, yeah. Got
84, yeah. The
next
A's were around.
Yeah.
That's great advice.
That was around his peak, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I said, yeah, right, I can move on next. And he said, look, go to all the tourist destinations, but sort of walk 4 blocks in for those and walk those streets and you'll see what the place is really about. And so I sort of got from that, you know, if you really want to delve into the place, what something's really about, get into the culture of it, you got to get out of those tourist spots. So I sort of developed a bit of a fetish for going. Is
this how you got on the Jerry Springer? Yeah. They love fetishes on Jerry.
Perfect category. And for going to places not many people can say they've been or having experiences not many people can say. So, you know, we were road tripping around the States. We bought a motorhome and we were in Milwaukee, and I remember watching TV and Jerry Springer, and I said, well, geez, I'd love to go on that show, you know, and it was filmed in Chicago. It was only an hour away, so I thought, righto, we'll get down there, and got some tickets and, you know, went into the show. Now, I was sitting 4th row back on the aisle, so, you know, I'm not backwards and coming forward in one of these things. I'm walking in, here's the Jerry Springer fucking studio, you know, you're like, shit, I've only seen this on TV, I'm here. And I thought, well, I've got to make the most of it. So I was 4th row back on the aisle, I thought, yeah, I'll start some rant happening here. And anyway, I made like 4 or 5 comments throughout the episode. And Jerry kept coming back to me because the comments were just little quick-witted ones, you know.
Oh, you're chirping.
Oh yeah. Well, you got to let him know. You got to let him know that you can come to me. You know, I'll happily grab the mic off you, you know. And so he comes out on stage, and I said to him, look. He said, anyone got any questions? I said, yeah, well, what's the show about, Jerry? Are we going to get some nudity today or what? And he said, oh, we don't name the show until after we film it, see how it goes. Anyway, it ended up being called Mad Mistresses from Hell. So,
whoa.
Yeah, one of the good ones. And well, better than like adult diaper wearing fetish or something like that. You know,
slightly.
Anyway, so So anyway, this guy comes out and this woman on stage, she suspected her husband of cheating, and so they brought out who he was cheating on with, and out rolls this 6'4" transvestite. So,
yep.
So I got a little chirpy then, and then they brought him out, the husband, and I definitely got up in his grill. And because I was right on the aisle, he's basically made a beeline for me.
So the security guards are coming
Steve, the bouncer, was all up in that, basically hold him back. And, you know, you got to sign these waivers when you go on that show. If you get hit, you get hit. too bad.
That's great.
You know? So, anyway, I remember him saying something like, look at you, you redneck. You look like a construction worker, those boots. Because I was wearing like brown Colorado shoes. And at the time, I didn't even know what a redneck was. You know, I'm Aussie, mate. Like, and
I'm a bogan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So anyway, come comment time at the end. I stick my hand up. I said to Joey, my mate, I said, mate, I'm going to clap back at this guy. So Jerry sees my hand goes, comes around. I grab the mic off Jerry. I basically said, look, This one's for Twinkle Toes. You called me a construction worker. I'm really a plumber. Just ask your wife. She loves how I lay my pipe. And all hell broke loose. Like he has absolutely launched off his seat and just come running straight for me, throwing all these haymakers at me. Steve the bouncer's holding him back. All you can see on TV, because I got it on, I had to record it on VHS onto then DVDs.
Emily, if you can find it, please put it in the video.
Yeah. And basically all you can see is him trying to get through to me, throw a few punches, and I'm slapping high fives to the crowd that are running down from the back bleachers. So I hadn't been on Australian TV at that point, but I'd been on American TV. I was on Jerry Springer.
That is phenomenal. So, legitimately, when people go onto Jerry Springer, they're not actors.
Look, all I can say is that when they hit, they really hit. When they pull hair, they're pulling hair. When they throw chairs at you, they're throwing chairs at you, But I have seen an episode where a guy's playing, I don't know, he's mucking around with, he's 40, mucking around with 90-year-old women or something like that. But then at another episode, I see the same guy playing probably what I said, wearing an adult diaper or something like that. So, look, it is a bit of fast cash for some people, but
this must have been prior to the startup journey, I guess. You had a bit more time up your sleeves.
Funnily enough, it kicked it off.
Would have been a great stage to launch from, that's for sure.
Imagine that. Jerry Springer, by the way, B4.
Yeah, exactly.
But in other news, B4
is
just turning the real estate industry upside down. Is that a fair way to put it?
Look, we're trying to rewrite the rules a bit, yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's something that it was just a light bulb moment that went off and came to me, and I thought, well, the situation was in the real estate industry with the prices of marketing, particularly digital marketing in real estate, were just going up and up and up, and it's crazy.
Well, just for and this is because when I was talking to you about this, I had no idea that shit cost this much. It was like, what is it, like $7,000 to list on...
Yeah, on realestate.coms, or domains, they've gone to like even dynamic pricing where basically, you'll pay more if you're, say, advertising in Coogee versus another area. So, yeah, you're probably, in areas like that, you're looking anywhere from about $4,500 to $5,500 for a 45-day ad.
That's a pricey ad.
Wow.
Yeah.
On realestate.com.
This isn't like a... like a video or like this ain't prime time TV.
No, that's right, and it's a digital.
This is a
file.
listing on someone searching.
It's a digital file that they don't own the content of it. I mean, this was the frustration from my point of view as an agent. I was doing all the hard work, going out and prospecting for these listings. Making 100 cold calls, getting into 3 lounge rooms every couple of days and competing against other agents and then winning that business and then having to extract, $4,000 or $5,000 of marketing out of my vendors
before you even start doing anything for them.
To put an ad up on, to literally upload a digital file. And to me, that's just it's a rip-off. Absolute rip-off.
Well, the other thing is the time. That was...
Well, yeah, the time for it was... Look, it would take me anywhere from when I was signing up properties to actually getting them up and running on these real estate websites. It can take you anywhere. Look, if you're really hurting and you've got a photographer in your back pocket or something like that, you might be able to get it done in 4 or 5 days, but generally it's taking anywhere from 7 to 14 days. And that's eating into my time as an agent to be marketing. And I just thought to myself...
On the client's side, to get up onto the market.
Yeah, 100%. And then I've got to wait for someone to go and trawl online and find it, discover it, and hopefully send an inquiry and start the process. But, the technology existed, for us to get information from A to B a lot quicker, and it just wasn't being harnessed. So I just thought there's got to be something b4realestate.com.au, and that's where it was born. So, yeah.
Well, there's so advice and the financial industry in general is going through a very big change. We've got a Royal Commission on. There's a lot of changes that are happening, and there's a lot of advisors that are out there saying, I can do things better than the way that they're currently done. Yeah. So you were an agent.
Yeah.
You're suffering through how things are done.
On both sides, because obviously I see the pain points from buyers of the frustration of always missing out on properties.
Yeah.
The frustration of my clients where, look, we're all signing up the paperwork. Yes, we're putting the property on the market. It's a real emotional time for them, and we're all hyped up. But that honeymoon period ends pretty quick, where my clients, my vendors, are starting to, they're wanting to see some results, and results quick. And when I say results, I don't necessarily mean a sale, but they want to see some activity, some hype around the property. And, you know, that honeymoon period doesn't last very long before they start asking, well, where are the buyers, where are the buyers? You know, because as agents, you know, yes, I've got buyers, yes, I've got buyers. You know, so we really shouldn't have to really be hamstrung and rely on these, you know, real estate websites to produce our inquiry if we're dealing with our business the best we should anyway.
Yeah. And I really want to dive into that process. So you're noticing a problem, you're suffering through the consequences, you get this light bulb moment, right? What happens between those 2 points? And then the third point is to execution. So what is your journey like? Because that's really what I'd want to know, is how you went from suffering through a constant issue, and then the process to solving it and arriving to where you are now.
Yeah, the journey is a very, very, very long one. Very long. Probably, you know, we all know how fast technology moves, but we all look at the ones that are very successful, but they've been around for quite a while and taken their time. So from that light bulb moment, well, I can tell you, it was October 2013 on a Sunday. There you go.
Wow.
5th October 2013, where I was lying on the beach and the light bulb moment come off. And now we're here, and we've just released probably, which is the version that we want to, you know, really start making some noise about across Australia and New Zealand. So it's taken the best part of 5 years, you know. So the journey starts with basically saying, okay, that's a good idea and that makes sense. But most good ideas really do make sense. Then you start thinking, well, hang on, that's too simple. Somebody's already done this before. So then I had to go and do a bit of research. Is anyone doing this, one, in Australia, or two, anywhere else around the world that I could potentially basically just get jammed out of the market? And I didn't find anything that was similar to what was going on, how I envisaged it in my head. So after that, then you go, well, okay, well, where do we start? We need some funds. So basically I just, you know, luckily enough, I've got a couple of good mates that we've always done business together since we were at boarding school, since we were 12. So whether it be property or buying flatbed trucks out at Cunnamulla or something, I don't know. I put some money behind something, one of those.
Runs in and out of Colombia.
Well, that's it. You know, so it was
purchasing submarines together.
So you got to do backloads, you know. So basically, I was lucky enough to talk with a couple of mates of mine. I said, well, look, a bit of, you know, very much that angel sort of funding to begin with, and then it just started designing the process and then going and seeing development companies for apps and things like that. And, you know, that's a whole process in itself. You build a prototype. I was lucky enough to get some good advice from some high-profile people in that sort of digital space and tech space that said, look, when you're releasing tech, release it in a very closed environment. You know, don't be one of these ones that, here's a great idea, I've built a prototype and sing to the hills about it. You know, you're going to have to... Basically, the way I can put it is, you're going to release your first version, and that's always going to be your shittiest version. And you've got to actually convince people to use a really shitty version of your product.
Right.
So that then you can get the feedback from them and get it better. Then you release another one, and it's still pretty shitty compared to the one that's out there. And you just got to keep doing that. And we did that in a very closed environment. And it's
What was
tough.
some of the ways that you got people, like, because obviously it's not where you imagine it could be. It's functioning. It's sort of, how do you get people involved, and were these just people that really liked you?
Look, there's people that I always see in any sort of industry. There are always going to be people that are willing to pioneer something. Mm-hmm. And, you know, obviously you talk with them very candidly that, look, I've got this idea. You know, I was in the industry myself, so I had enough colleagues or even competitors that I'd said, look, here's the idea of it. And we all shared that same sort of gripe with the pricing of real estate marketing and portals. So we had that common ground. Whilst we might be competitors in the lounge room of sellers, you know, we all shared that same sort of, you know, distaste. Yeah, very good. And so I sort of utilised that to the advantage to get enough people using it that were willing to say, yeah, okay, it's shit. I don't like how it does this. I like how it does that. Can you make it do this? And I reckon we would have gone through about a year and a half of testing under the radar, keeping in a very closed environment.
Whoa.
You know, so that's we only did a 5 to 30k radius of a CBD and keeping it really tight.
And this is up in Brisbane.
Yeah, in Brisbane. You know, I wanted to do it in what was traditionally known as a static market. You know, you bring a bit of tech into Sydney, you know, when a hot market, and everyone's going to just say to you, oh, of course it's going to work in a hot market. What about when it's not hot? So I always wanted to basically take out any argument that anyone would have about, okay, it's working. If I can make it work in Brisbane in a very static market, then I can make it work in pretty much anywhere, you know.
How about we go into a bit more of sort of the function of it? Because I guess people are wondering, what exactly does this thing do?
Yeah. Funnily, you know, people say, what's the elevator pitch and all that sort of stuff. And, you know, I hate that sort of term. But every time I demonstrate it, people just go, oh, yeah, it's Tinder for real estate. And that's probably my elevator. So what's your business
Just more
done
matches.
Yeah. They tend to respond a lot more too. So, look, basically the problem was the time it would take for me as an agent to get a property up and running on a real estate website was, let's call it 7 days. Now, during that 7 days, myself as an agent, I'm already pinging my own database, which I should be. I'm getting it out there to my own sort of channels and social media channels. And then all of a sudden you discover it online as a brand new property and it's already marked as under contract. And you're like, well, how the hell did that happen? It's brand new and it's already gone. So that's the pain point of buyers or even tenants always missing out on properties because you're just not fast enough. So I wanted to create a platform where the technology we knew existed. I can get information from A to B instantly. You think about how we send a text message or even push notification. So why can't I, as an agent, enter in the details of a property? And what it will feed back to an agent is the live buyer matching number of that particular property. And as you go through that process of entering the address, okay, in this suburb there's 622 people looking right now in that suburb. Then it's a house, and that number will start refining down. So it'll sweep out anyone looking for apartments. Then it's this price, and it'll sweep out anyone that can't afford it. And you get down to a very refined number of, say, 127. So basically, as soon as I hit a button, go live, it will ping out to those 127 buyers with a nice little ding. You have a match. Swipe right for the address. And it gets that information from me. Potentially, I'm still in the lounge room of my cellar, to 127 matching buyers that are red hot, ready to go on a property that is exactly like this one.
Can an advisor put a property up on your platform?
No. It's reserved for agents. A lot of people ask, can private sellers even upload their property?
Yeah.
And look, I'm an agent. 2 decades in real estate. It's in my DNA. I'm not going to screw over my own colleagues.
Sure.
So what's the definition of agent?
Anyone with a real estate agent license.
Okay.
And
Okay,
that has the
how do you get
authority to market that property.
How do you get a real estate license?
Go and do a course.
How long's it?
Some of them you can get done in 3 days in the classroom.
Keep going.
Yeah. But then you've got to get the authority from the owners. So you got to,
Right.
basically sign up those
So
properties.
let's go through a theoretical
So
situation
door
here.
knocking. Wait, 3 days. First 3 days studying. Next 3 days door knocking. Got the app. And
you got to convince that owner to list with you.
No, well, and while I'm just trying to think about it here. So let's say I've got a client. They want to sell their house.
Yep.
Right. There's a bunch of options. Typically, it's go to a real estate agency. All right.
Sure.
Pay your $5,000 to realestate.com.au.
Yep.
Theoretically, this is a way for someone to get their property to market quicker, right? So bypassing the .com.au.
Sure.
Do you meet any real estate real estate agents / financial advisors?
Yeah, I have encountered them. Some of them.
Really?
Yeah. I have. There's been a couple of instances where they're managing particular portfolios for them and things like that, the people that they're advising or anything like that. And yes, they do have those capabilities, whether it's themselves or someone within their business have the capabilities or the legal right to market property. But again, you've got to get the authority from the owners signed.
Do you need a license?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not just getting. Sorry, you spend your 3 days to get qualified, but then do you need to belong to a McGrath?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Right.
No,
so you can be an independent real estate agent.
Hey,
absolutely.
stop rubbing it into all the advisors out there
What?
that other areas of financial services are a bit easier to
No,
operate in.
that's actually not what I'm doing. I'm sitting here thinking,
I want to be a real estate agent. No.
yeah, like why aren't advisors?
Why are we doing advice?
This tool would allow advisors, if they were so inclined, to become a real estate agent and sell property.
If their licensee would allow it.
Ah, yes, if their
It's-
AFSL would allow it. That's a really good point.
Yeah, I don't want to make it sound that it's easy being an agent because it's
No,
not.
no,
It's
no,
easy
no,
to
no,
get.
no.
It is very easy to get qualified. Too easy. I've believed that for a long time because you think about the reputation that real estate agents have in general. It's not.
Oh, mate,
That
we're
great.
financial planners. We're
Right.
playing on the same field
Okay,
here.
so we
just
start,
have to work harder to get the bad reputation.
Yeah. So you start thinking, okay, why is it that, for instance, I was talking to someone from Dublin that is a real estate agent, and I said, well, what's the profession and what's it ranked as there? Is it it's a very well-respected profession.
Right.
And I said, how long does it take you to become a real estate agent? I said, 4.5 years. So it is essentially like a university degree. So it is a full qualification.
Oh, my goodness.
So you've had to put a lot of hurt time, sweat equity into getting to the stage where you can actually sell property in that country.
yes.
And therefore it is a much more respected
Did that
profession.
happen during the GFC at all? Or was that something before
No,
that?
there was just something before that. It's
Okay.
just different countries have different rules
Yeah.
and regulations around it. For instance, in the States, your typical mums and dads, every second person's a bloody qualified real estate
Yeah.
agent.
Is that because it's the same here? Like same education standards or whatever?
Not so much. Well, over there, the commission's a lot higher, and you can represent
Is it?
both sides. Yeah,
The commission's higher.
you can represent. Yeah,
And you
'cause
make your own market.
Yeah, you can represent both sides. So you can represent a seller and a buyer.
So you can get paid
correct.
from. Wow.
So basically, you get a lot of people. So mums and dads over there, you might be looking at anywhere from a 5 to 7% commission, whereas here you're rolling around about 3%.
What's your perspective on being on both sides of the ledger?
It seems to work well enough for them. I don't know. I haven't experienced it. I guess they've got to represent both sides equally, and so that you get a fair deal. But I mean, even as an agent, that's all I could. Yeah, but as an agent representing a seller, all I could ever ask for was to get a real fair deal for my clients. That as long as they walked away with a smile on their face and the buyers are happy that they've secured a property, then it's fair for everyone.
So you're in October 2013.
Yeah,
5th. It was a Friday.
Sunday.
Sunday, sorry. How much longer until you got to a point where you could walk into this full time?
I took it on full time April 2015.
Right. So 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years playing in this beta environment.
Yeah.
And then you've been doing it last 3 years. So for everyone out there that's thinking, I'd like to start a piece of fintech, you've been doing it now full time for 3 years.
Yeah.
What's your journey been like?
Yeah, like I said, long. Look, the biggest thing is it's not only you can have a great idea and the tech you can get built. You always want to build it on a budget primarily. So the first prototype we built on a really tight budget. That means you're not going to have the best platform that it's sitting on, not the strongest. It might have a bit slow to load the screen times. There'll be nicks and scratches in it all along the way. I get that. But before I was willing to put any serious freight behind it, you had to work first. Does the concept make sense and does it work? Once you tick that box, that's cool. But then I want to see, well, is that sustainable? So is there enough of a hunger for a product like this in the market for people to keep using it?
And how long did it take for you to get to that data point?
Well, that one really is just, you're probably looking at about 6 months for that. Because I want to see the churn rate
After
of
you had
users.
the prototype out there.
Yeah, put the
Or the
prototype out there.
MVP or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
you want.
yeah, the whole lot. And basically, through that, you're saying, okay, well, getting a download's easy. You know, I'll probably get you guys to download it when I'm here first. Big deal.
Yep.
But are you using it? particularly with agents, like you can get them to download it, but are they using it? They might use it a couple of times. And then because it's so different, the challenge is getting them form the habit of keep using it.
Absolutely. So what did you do in that first 6 months?
Keep pinging them. Just keep up in their face, Email marketing, push notification marketing, text messages, or
grab
knocking
coffees,
on
like
straight
literally.
away. Yeah,
Yep.
Belly to belly, never beats belly to belly. So just getting out there, talking to them, always saying, involving them in the process. I never looked at it as I was building my app. I was building an app for my industry.
Yep.
And so I listened to a lot of agents telling me how they didn't like this or they love that. Can you make it do this? And then I went back to the drawing board, and I'd film all that stuff. I documented all that, so you can see it on the YouTube stuff where I'm sitting down and agents are saying, "No, it did this. I hate that part of it, Drew. Fix it."
Wow.
So I'm very much about getting front foot with that sort of stuff.
So first 6 months, you figure out there's a bit of traction here.
Yeah.
Right. Real estate agents are agreeing to your premise that realestate.com.au can be done better. Yep. Then what happens?
Oh, then you got to get them to actually pay for it.
The classic capitalistic conundrum.
Well, you have to. That's it. You got a good product, people are using it, but it's free. So you release it out there, let them use it, give them the full features of the product. And I guess that's the real acid test is, are you willing to pay to use that service? But that's just hurdle number one. Like, will you pay? As in, we've all paid maybe a month subscription to LinkedIn or something like that for the premium or something like that. But are you going to continue? And this is where people need to understand, if any of the listeners have an idea or tech or bringing out something like that, someone handed over credit card details and they paid to use it. But I need to see that over a period of time as well, so that I can then work out what my churn rate is, like how many users paid but then dropped off, didn't pay a second month, or dropped off at month 4, and why did they drop off? So that's what takes the time. You can't simulate that other than get it out there, get people to pay, and then see if they'll continue to pay. And if they see enough value in the product, they will continue to pay. So that's that next hurdle. The next hurdle after that is, okay, I've got a product that makes sense, that people like to use, that they continue to use, that they're willing to pay once for and continue to pay for. You're still only about halfway.
Come on,
You
man.
are. Because, okay, cool, I did that in a closed environment of a 5 to 30k radius of Brisbane. How do I scale that without just funneling money into marketing?
Right.
Because you had to then say, okay, right, we've got that side of it sorted. The tech works. People see enough value to use it.
And this is where moving to Coogee comes in.
It yeah.
So this is how you do it.
Yeah, and then it's basically then
Got nothing to do with the Coogee Pavilion. Or the high concentration of South American women in Sydney.
Yeah, that's right. But it's all of a sudden you got a good piece of tech. Nice, well done. But I need people to know about that tech. So then you have to go through this whole phase of testing your marketing strategy of the awareness of the product. And that can take you a year. How do I tell people about this without just putting sponsored ads on Facebook or consistently, blasting out email campaigns, or, how do I get the talkability around something? If I was to have my time over again, I would focus very much so on, look, I think with marketing now, the shift is so vast, and you've got to be really agile with it, particularly, say, with social media marketing, things like that. They just change the goalposts all the time. But I think if you've got a product, as long as you can get people talking about it, it doesn't matter what it is, just something that has talkability around it. And that's where sort of like...
The Elon Musk marketing, is that what you're talking about?
Well, yeah. It's Tinder for real estate.
Yeah.
Oh, that's intriguing. What's that?
Yeah.
Well, Tinder for real estate? I know how Tinder works. Like, well, I guess I understand now. Get some talkability around it. I actually got blocked in any media in southeast Queensland because you said I could have a rant, right?
You mate, go for it.
Okay,
Tell us all about that.
Oh, bloody hell. I'll tell you something here. So,
how do you get blocked on media?
Well, basically, you're poking a big bear, right? So obviously realestate.com.
Yep.
Look, the way I describe them is their platform, to me, honestly, is a dinosaur.
Yes.
It hasn't evolved, but they're just a really fucking big dinosaur
Yes.
with very
T-Rex.
well, the biggest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you start poking that bear a little bit. Or not necessarily deliberately poking them, but your product's really starting to cause them a few headaches because properties were transacting through this app once we built up the user base without even then making realestate.com or domain. So basically their revenue started to, look, put a tiny little ding in it. You know,
Right.
Not even, whatever's smaller than a ding maybe, but enough to say, oh shit, if these guys scale, it could be an issue. And obviously we had discussions with them, and those discussions broke down, and basically I couldn't get any airtime. I was went, why can't I get any airtime in any of the media in South East Queensland? This is good. I'm so naive at this stage, right? This is a Queensland-born invention. The real estate agent from the beach and in his backyard built this little bit of tech and this and that. And I thought, that's a good story.
Sounds like a great story.
Yeah, but it contradicts the biggest advertiser in those newspapers. So this girl, I was at a function, a Channel 9 function once, and she said, I can't report anything about you, Drew, or your business because you contradict our biggest advertiser, and we've been told from the top down to basically ignore you. And I went,
No way.
yeah. And I went, yeah, she had half a skinful in her, so she probably shouldn't have said that to me. But I, at that time, thought, righto, it's game on. You know, you back me in the corner, I'm going to punch. And
Wait, you didn't punch her?
oh no. So I just started seeking out different advice from people that had done some pretty edgy, cool marketing. And I thought, look, I want to throw a rock here at the media. Not necessarily to the public, but I want to basically throw a rock and say, here I am. I'm not going away. So we did this. I found a bit of a human headline at the time, which I was told to do. A human headline is someone that can get in media, any sort of media, good, bad, or indifferent.
Right. So
Controversial people.
right, a controversial person. Chappelle Corby.
Correct. Spot on.
Right.
On my radar right now. Nick Kyrgios. Yeah, I'm looking for the next one. But
Because he's lost some staff from Colombia, so he needs to replace them.
yeah. I was so get a human headlines, and it ended up one ended up sort of presenting themselves through different channels, and it was a former reality TV star, and
Right.
and she'd been a bit controversial in that reality show, and done a few
Questionable things.
like any of us, we all do questionable things. It's just whether the camera's pointed at us when they happen, and the cameras were always pointed at it when they happen. So,
Sure.
I don't begrudge anyone for that. So, we did a little bit of a marketing strategy towards that. In that, we threw a couple of rocks at the media, which they didn't like, but it basically really set the tone. Then from that point forward, that it was
right.
Okay.
So they couldn't ignore you because
not so much
human
ignored it. Look, I
headline.
wasn't looking for their attention, but I was basically saying, look, I'm not going to be bullied.
Yeah.
If you
You almost defined your marketing strategy a
Yeah.
little bit. You're like, this stuff works.
Yeah.
Let's do it again.
well, that's it. But it's talkability. You
Yeah,
think about that.
yeah.
Oh, well, and I copped as much flack as I did for the pros of it with the type of marketing that was.
Sure.
Like, why would you align yourself with that, your business with that person or this? And
Sure.
I'm not aligning myself with this business. It was just, you're talking about it.
Totally, man.
At the end of the day, you just have to, it's talkability. If people are talking about your product, they're telling other people, look how I met you boys. It's the same sort of thing. Just someone was talking about something else and you were talking, and then you said, mate, this, and it just goes from there. So the marketing side of things was probably the biggest learning curve that I had to go through, in that I think it's pretty brutal out there, particularly if you are what people will say a disruptor, which I really hate that term, disruptor, but it's just, to me, it's just
in the
evolution.
traditional landscape, I guess.
Well, to me, it's just evolution. It's like the tech's available. We're just using the tech that's not previously being used. I'm not here to. I didn't set out to. I'm going to disrupt this. Whatever it is, a $7 billion market cap. I think they got at the moment.
All right. let's say there's some financial planners out there listening, and they say, you know what, I don't want to go through the rigmarole of getting a license and yada yada yada, but I want to work with someone who's going to do this because it sounds like you can get my client's product to market a little bit quicker. How would an advisor find an agent that's using this software?
I think on that side of things, though, that it's more the advisors that are, if they're dealing with clients that are wanting to get into some more property or add property to the portfolio and things like that. It's certainly this tool helps buyers that they're not missing out, right? So I'd suggest, get onto this app, because you're basically going to get, the figures, I know the figures, 82% of the properties that roll through our app are first on the app before even domain or realestate.com. So basically we fish upstream. And you as an advisor, you want to be the one that tips your client.
Okay. So you're saying, so rather than a sales tool, you're saying as an advisor, we should be aware of this sort of stuff, because the chances of purchasing before it gets to realestate.com.au is the attractive piece.
100%.
Right. So if we have clients that like to, or in the market to purchase property, a part of what we can do to help them is say, download this little sneaky app and get a week's head start on the rest of the market.
Before that, Clay, a lot of advisors out there have worked out we can't give property advice, but we can help clients crunch the numbers a bit and look about what would make sense for them.
Yeah.
And then they've got their brief of what makes sense for their situation. We're not recommending property. And then they can input what that looks like, where sort of general locations, and then they'll get notified.
Yeah, it's the thing. Like, we all want to be the person that also tips someone else into the latest cool bit of tech. Like, how much did we all spruik when it was Uber? I love saying, oh yeah, download this Uber now, it's Taxify and all these ones here. You want to be that person that helps someone else out that isn't using that bit of tech. So I'm the advisor that says, exactly. And I'm that advisor that then tipped you in, and that's exactly what it is. It is a bit of a secret squirrel type app, as in you will get stock sent to you
82% of the time ahead of the market.
I'll get that to 100, don't
Boom. Actually, Paddy's been working. He's got a very similar timeline. He's been working on bringing a Patty Does Salsa app to market. He's been working. He's actually very similar.
Still beta testing.
Very similar process. Yeah, he's been stuck in beta for about 5 years now, unfortunately. Apparently no one wants to pay for it.
All right.
Still refining the product. I'm curious.
It's not a bad thing, though. Seriously, there does come a point where we had to pull the trigger. And that was essentially behind my move here to Sydney. Yep, great. You got a bit of tech that's working in Southeast Queensland. Reason why we chose that, which I've already explained. But it is. I want to come to the big boy sandpit now, and
How much of the journey, and this is always the interesting thing when you talk to people that have sort of come out a bit of a journey of starting up and going through all the trials and tribulations. How much do you think could have been? Do you look back and go, that just had to be done, or do you look back, fuck, I wish I did. I wish I skipped that bit.
Yeah, Drew, how much money have you wasted?
Yeah.
It's not the same money all the time.
No. Yes, it is.
Mate, as someone who's going through the process myself, I knew the answer to the question as you were
It always translates to money.
Yeah. The first thing that always comes to mind is the launches. We did... invite only to all the agents. We did a launch in Brisbane, then we did one on the glitz and glamour of the Gold Coast, where we're hiring, out these, beautiful restaurants with, all the booze paid for and all this shit, and I'm standing up on stage for 20 minutes to explain a product that is so far different. Fucking agents there for the free beers. That's essentially it. And I would have, I think both of those, a couple of, maybe 20 grand in launches alone. I would never have done that. I would never do that again. And even here now, I'm more about just let me put my feet on the pavement and start,
Is that a bit of a lesson around sort of just like just being practical and forget about whatever traditionally has been done from a marketing or a sort of just
Absolutely.
cut through to people one way or the other. It doesn't matter how much you spend. It's sort of like...
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the things I wanted to do right from the get-go was question everything. Okay, conventional way of marketing, I want to look at different ways. And I didn't want to have to pay, sales staff on foot soldiers on the ground, $100K a year to go out and sales rep this thing. If I've got to pay people to train people to use it and I haven't built it well enough, I wanted to absolutely build a bit of tech that could really be sort of self-sufficient and user-populated, user-funded, and also with the marketing question, I was just questioning everything. Well, why can't I reach people just me staring at, and that's what a lot of my videos are, staring down the barrel of an iPhone bloody 7, just record me raw. And I'll pump it out 45 seconds, new bit of in the app. Why can't I? I can reach people a lot quicker. And I think now we all know that in marketing, we're all consuming video, not static. And in fact, that video then needs to be raw, authentic sort of stuff. So you don't see me with bloody film crews following around, doing all this sort of stuff. It's just jump on an iPhone. People really resonate with that.
Well, the thing around marketing, I'm starting to wonder, like everything's moving so quickly and like all this sort of traditional marketing, you go, oh, this is so people learn and then this is sort of how it's done. But things move past that so quickly. How much have you sort of grown to think that what you come up with or just hacking, good marketing these days is hacking the existing system.
Yeah.
Because you can't roll with what's been done because
you just get
it doesn't do anything
noise.
different. Yeah.
Just another bit of noise.
So does that mean does marketing fall on you a lot because of that? Or are you still is it hard to find the right people that really add to that?
Marketing falls on me a lot because that's how I want it at this stage. It is my face and is my name behind this product, and I'm probably to the detriment of my own time, a bit of a perfectionist in that sense. I have a certain vision of how I want it to play out in my head, and not many people can see that same vision. But I think I was reading something recently about, you need to have, you're not having enough cake with your people. That was the whole thing. As in, we're touching everybody digitally and through email marketing, things like that, but it's fucking noisy, it's just not cutting through. And that's why I thought, well, belly to belly, every time I jump in an agency or an office and demo this thing, the jaws drop. They appreciate the fact that it's someone there explaining to it, let alone the guy that founded it or was the CEO of the company. And look, I know that's not scalable, but right now it's what I enjoy doing. It is my passion. It is my baby. So I love getting out there and talking with other agents because it's in my blood as well. So with the marketing side of it, I struggle to find a company, or you interview, say, 3 companies, what should my marketing strategy be? You'll get 3 different answers, then you're fucking back at square one anyway. And I know what was cutting through, and it is just me staring down the barrel of a camera, packaging something up, putting it out. I did a radio interview the other day, and I just set the iPhone up and recorded that because people want to watch that as well, like you guys are doing here. It's visual. It's turning something that's not audio into something visual, and people are consuming that a lot.
What about webinars?
Look, again, I kind of look at how I can scale that out. I haven't really gone down that path as of yet. I actually document all of the offices that I go into. So basically, I record those meetings that I'm in on a time-lapse camera. So, not everyone wants to be heard on camera or anything like that. But if you can just basically, I do a 20-second intro, time-lapse camera, me in front of 20 agents, and then an outro. All of a sudden, you package it up, 45 minutes, they've seen you in front of it, and it's just real, it's raw.
Validation.
It is. It's just saying, oh, hey, guys, I just visited, the office at NG Farrow at bloody Little Bay or something, well, here it is. And we're just doing a bit of time-lapse footage in there, so it validates that. I find that is working really well.
That's cool.
Let's talk about some of the success you've had then. So what kind of agents are using it?
Look, obviously you get a lot of, early on, you would get not so many of the high-profile agents.
Right.
Okay. Look, and I understand that marketing is very important to them, and I was in their shoes as well. But so you do go after, but they only make up about 20% of the volume of agents out there. They happen to do 80% of the sales.
Right.
But, for me, it was about getting users on board. And I was lucky enough to secure a pilot network that believed in the concept that I was putting out there. And that was a sales force of about 80. So it's a pretty good
that was your Brisbane startup.
Yeah. So basically they said, well, we'll test pilot it here. And you can actually capitalise on that too. Like down here, I can certainly say to guys, if I get into a network, it's basically, well, look, how about we let you guys test pilot it for your particular area? So you get about a 3-month head start. And of course they all want a head start on tech in their area and things like that and be at the forefront. But I guess for me, that whole being able to, look, here's what I do. I get a report at the end of the day of all the agents that downloaded and listed on the app today, all the new ones. I'll jump on the phone to them and say, can I buy you a coffee?
Is that right?
Yeah. I then go and sit and have coffee with them because they've just, and I want to show them everything that the app does. And then on the back of that, I said, well, how about I come talk to the rest of your team? And then the following week, generally, I'm in the sales meeting in front of 8 or 10 people. So it is belly to belly for me, but I think that's what cuts through. If I can get 20 agents on board in a 1-hour meeting to start listing all their stock on it, and then telling the buyers who they're in direct contact with to download this app because I list first on before, then it starts that flywheel turning.
Well, I think that's a really important thing to point out to everyone, that you're building a marketplace, which is one of the hardest things to actually create. We're talking Facebook, we're talking eBay. Like this sort of shit
Airbnb.
It's
Uber.
It's the biggest challenge from a startup standpoint to go, because you got to
a double-sided
it's a double-sided
market.
market. You got to find your supply and you got to find your demand.
Well, Adrian, back to what you asked about the marketing. See, because it was that two-sided market where I need agents on there to list stock, but I need buyers to be looking at that. What comes first, the chicken and the egg? And then you'd interview like 4 marketing companies, and 3 of them, one said, go for the agents. We'll go all hard at the agents because they got the stock. The other one would say, we'll go hard at the buyers because they're the eyeballs on the property. And then the others would be like, we'll go 50-50 split on this. And at the end of the day, you just walk away going, I think I can understand the market just as good through looking at the behaviour and activity in the back of the app and then target it that way. So, our marketing is very reactive. If there's agents jumping on, say, in Mossman and uploading properties in Mossman on the app, then we point our guns at the marketing in Mossman to buyers.
That, I guess you're sort of talking about that lean startup sort of
methodology.
Review. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. It's sort of like looking at what you've done and measuring, and like, what's that look like for you, and how's that sort of evolved over time? Because I think that's one of the crucial things in terms of, like, once you're out to market, Clay, once you get there, it's, he'll be able to. What can Clay do once he starts getting out there? What's that review cycle look like, and what have you found that works really well?
Finding out what unit economics were the most important. What are the key drivers in the business for me? Whether it was getting stock on, getting buyers on, getting the buyers looking at it, interacting with the agents, and basically I made sure that the back end platform was set up for very easy reporting of. But to be honest, that took probably 2 or 3 months to architect myself in. What is really important is it the agent? Like I said, a download to me is not really that important.
How many times has the app been downloaded?
In our test phase, we had about 27,000.
Yeah, nice.
In Brisbane. That was a pretty shitty version of the app too. But so basically looking at that and understanding, well, how did we grow that base? But then you kind of look at it like, I can't keep funneling money into marketing for new buyers because the buying cycle is about 9 months, I believe. When I was in real estate, from the point where a buyer wakes up and says, I want to buy a house, to the point where they actually put ink on paper, that cycle's about 9 months. They'll muck around for a few months, and they might look on the real estate websites and then they'll start going to open homes, and then they'll start getting a little bit more serious. They might have to put in 3 or 4 offers towards the end and then finally secure one. So, when you've got a cycle of buyers that continually is changing, the app had to be able to be agile enough so that it wouldn't be just like, we need to get more buyers on, more buyers. But I don't know, you make the product good enough for the agents that are loading the stock, the agents will tell the buyers, jump on it, because the agents want to control the information rather than giving up all the information to the real estate websites and just feeding that beast even more.
And how many properties have gone through the app?
Again, that test phase, we had 22,000.
Oh, that's fantastic.
We were transacting 25 to 30 a week offline sales.
Wow.
So that was in that test phase, there were 25, 30 properties in Brisbane that never saw the light of day on realestate.com or Domain.
That's amazing.
So you could actually get out there. I got to the point where in the Brisbane market, I could get on, if I could get on any media, and say, if you are buying in Brisbane and you do not have this app, you are missing out. Fact.
Stats.
Fact.
Now, something a little bit philosophical here. Are you removing, and I already know the answer here, but are you removing real estate agents?
No way.
Exactly. So one of the
You
things...
can't. You can never. Look, tech won't replace high touch, high tech, the whole thing. But it's too emotional. That transaction is far too emotional.
Yeah, and I reckon that's a key part of financial advisors. I don't think financial advisors are going anywhere because of tech either. I think to your point, money, large sums of money, equals large emotional input.
Yep.
Equals I don't want to trust an app.
Yeah.
I don't want to trust blankly a piece of technology. I want to look someone in the eye and then just gauge. And then if I've worked with someone for a decent amount of time, then I've got some data points and I can make a judgment call, a gut feel, which an app can't produce. So it's an interesting time that we find ourselves in, because in the personal finance space, we get a lot of fintech, and you technically would be, are you fintech or are you...
Prop tech.
Prop
Tech.
tech. Mate, I
Hey.
love these terms.
I know, right?
I learn them all
I know,
the time.
Well, does it take a while to learn? Is there a
Mate,
learning
there's
process?
reg tech, there's prop tech, there's fintech, there's insure tech. There's all these...
That's one of the things. You've got to identify what your business actually is. Like, I think a lot of them out there have an identity crisis on their hands, is that, well, what does your business actually do? Am I a marketing platform? I don't know. Well, I'm in the business of marketing property. I don't. Is it a marketing company? Who knows?
It sounds definitely like a marketing
It's just
company.
like every business is a tech business. Every business is a marketing business. You're just delivering value.
I think that's the smartest thing I've ever heard you say.
It is.
There's a bit of that.
Every business is a tech business. Every business is a marketing
I want to
business.
put on the parallel. You talking about the fintech and the sort of prop tech sort of thing. Like, essentially, any of the real estate guys on your platform, if they're able to get stuff to market without the cost of realestate.com, or like you've reduced their cost to deliver their service, they're probably in a more competitive standpoint, whether to undercut other agents or things like that, because their cost to deliver the service goes down. Is that something that...
No, it's not I'm not cutting their delivery of their service. There's the agent's commission, and then there's the marketing component on top of that. So it's essentially like, I'd never...
But their costs that used to go to realestate.com.
Yeah, but it's generally that is cost paid for by the client.
Ah, gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
take that back then.
No. So no, you're right. I mean,
And how much does it list? How much cost to list on B4?
For who?
For the agent.
The
for
agent
client.
just pays a monthly subscription. It's $1.50 a day to use it.
What does the client pay?
Nothing.
Okay, so as an agent, I walk in and I say, would you like to be my client? And you don't have to pay the $5,000 that the previous agent just charged you.
I always look at it like, look.
It's more than net client.
That's a pretty compelling...
Net client cost.
Yeah, we're in
Yeah.
but what you got to remember is we are in obviously a growth phase of it. I never set out to be an either or. Okay,
Right.
It's more of an as well as. But I would always see, if I was still selling real estate, I would always be now looking at doing 2 or 3 stage marketing campaigns. So my first stage would be throw it up on before. You got 300 matching buyers in the last 90 days on this exact property. Let's float it out there, and then we can test the sort of market a little bit. Then I'd probably go to my social media campaigns and my own database, and then maybe 14 days later, if we haven't had any sort of reaction or anything concrete coming out of that,
Go back to the beast.
Well, go back to the beast, but the beast is going to be like third string quarterback here. I'm not going to have to pay them as much anymore.
I got a question surrounding your digital marketing. How come you're not a massive fan of it?
massive fan of digital marketing.
Well,
that's
actually,
his business.
I should qualify that. Paid Facebook ads to promote your fintech.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why we did social media is because we had to contain the app. So the only way I can contain an app is through those social media because you can choose those audiences, right?
Yes.
So
The location concentration.
Yeah, I didn't want to be going out into any sort of PR or media campaigns where you end up in, a magazine article here or online review here down in South Australia when we haven't even started in South Australia. We wanted to be very concentrated in a tight environment, and the best way to do that was through where you can choose your audiences through social media. So that's why. But still, you throw $4,000 behind a fucking social media ad versus up there, you're gonna, and this is the thing. Like, I went to a conference and Facebook was saying, everyone was always worried. Is Facebook going to get into property and start selling property, or anything like that? Yeah. And they said, look, we have no intention of that. However, we own the biggest pipe network on the planet. Use our pipes. And that's what he said. And I remember him saying, use these pipes. That we can target a certain demographic, a certain sex, a certain age, in a certain location to be popping up in their feed. Exactly the type of buyer that's looking for this, 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom, semi and Coogee, right? So it is a pipe network that is growing and growing and growing. So we really needed to, as agents, sort of jump into that. But the thing with it is it's a totally different skill set, is that social media marketing. That's a beast in itself to understand that. So as an agent, we just don't have either, one, the skill, or two, the time or expertise to be able to do that. So the app actually does social media platform for the agents as well.
Well, mate, to wrap us up, tell us, go into a little bit of detail about what your app does, and if people want to find more, how can they download it?
Yeah, well, it's called B4 Real Estate. So the reason why it's B4 is because it's B4 everything else, really. So basically, you can go into the App Store, Google, or on Android, and it's on iOS as well. We'll be releasing a desktop version of it probably in the coming 3 or 4 months. But yeah, essentially, it's one of those set and forget. So if you're looking to buy property or even keep an eye on what's popping up in your area, download the app, you enter in what you're looking for, you set and forget. Okay, this is not a platform where you're going to be trolling for hours and hours looking at the same shit all the time. This is set what you're looking for, and then you'll get a little ping as soon as an agent lists a property that matches what you've entered in, and you'll get that ping direct from the agent. Generally, the agent has just put the ink on the paperwork of that property.
And can you go into how exactly why B4 puts the property before realestate.com.au?
Speed, because
why?
there's no other platform that needs to. The reason why that lag period exists currently is because, okay, I sign up a piece of paperwork that says, yes, you want me to be your agent. Great. Okay, so it's Friday afternoon. What are the chances of me getting a professional photographer around your place tonight?
Right.
0.
So why don't they need a professional photographer for you?
Well, because basically you can just upload it straight into the app. It'll give you all of the real raw data of the property. So it'll give you the exact street address, number of bed, bath and car, the type of property. It'll give you the aerial map.
So that data is getting pulled from some other location.
Yeah.
And then you're just snapping pictures on a phone.
They can if they want. But for me, I go back to... This is back to the old classified ads, right? When I bought my first property, the ad came out, a little scatter ad in the Courier Mail. 4-bedroom, 1-bathroom, Queenslander,
right.
$205,000
Beauty.
in 3 goes from the city. Unheard of, but that's in 1998. I drove around there at 9 o'clock at night, shone my headlights on it, and I bought it the next day. I don't need the over-embellished photos. I don't need any of that.
You know what you want.
Exactly. You think about when you're buying. 1, what do we choose first? Where we want to live. That's my location. What do we need? We want a house. Great. I need a house. I need at least 3-bed, 2-bath, 1 car. And I've got up to $900,000 to spend. Just give me that information the instant it's available, and then I'll do what I need
There's
to do.
photographers gasping everywhere.
The irony is that you got people still flicking through the newspaper on the weekend, just spending that time.
Yeah.
Just
Look,
flicking.
Look, it's a matter of, again, it's not an either or. It was always an as well as sort of thing. Well, if I can create some hype and puts the agents in a pretty strong negotiating standpoint too. If you get a ping on B4 that you got a match, you like the look of it, Well, I'd be saying to you, well, you want this property, you're sick of missing out, you've been looking for 6 months, unless you like hanging out with me at open homes, this is the one you need to buy. Move on it now, make the offer as attractive as you can so that we don't need to then go to other marketing, advertising avenues. And generally buyers that are seasoned buyers, they've already missed out on several properties. So they understand that, look, this is the one, we've got to stop mucking around, we just buy it. You know?
Very good, mate. Well, thanks for coming in, sharing with us, the journey of startups and all the associated problems and, getting knocked out on Jerry Springer. Thank you very much for coming, good sir.
Thanks, Claire. Thanks,
Cheers, Jerry.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.